So, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, dear Excellencies, dear ladies and gentlemen, it's all my pleasure to be again here, and by the introduction of the three leaders, we've seen already the complexity of today's discussion. We've seen also that there might be very different corners of discussion. And it showed also that no area alone, neither the individuals, nor politicians, nor business people, nor academia can have a response, only together. I think the topic was well chosen from the students and the board, because if you look at the global risk report from the World Economic Forum for this year, they stated 3 areas of major risks and threats to the planet. First of all, the destruction of our environment. Second, cybercrime. And then economic and geopolitical tensions. In the report, you find that cyber attacks against companies have doubled within 5 years. Experts say that with the Internet of Things, the attacks and also the democratical aspects will increase dramatically, will be more vulnerable. And also the trend to attack critical infrastructure increases every year. So we need labor force, we need skills, we need experts to solve these upcoming issues. So I'm very happy that the students, which will be the leaders of tomorrow, choose a topic which might not threaten them, because most of them, they belong to the generation of digital natives, and they have a relaxed approach to digitization, and they are privileged. But I think we must really be very well aware that this is a minority. Most people on the planet, they have no skills at all, or minor skills, and they have anxiety, they have threats with this technological development, which is going on very, very fast. In general, I think that we should adopt a relaxed approach to digitization. We need to be more willing to experiment and more open-minded, because there is often a fundamentally negative tone in the public debate on digitization. But anxiety is a major factor. Fear of structural changes, fear of job losses, fear of the loss of privacy. The threat of automation at the workplace is a particularly strong cause of anxiety. Automation no longer merely encompasses routine activities that do not require high qualification. It is also shifting to activities that require highly qualified personnel. For example, in the fields of accountancy, insurance, or law, in which the structures are always constant. According to a study conducted by the OECD in March of this year, in the organization's 32 member states, around 13% of employees could be replaced by robots one day. This would mean that 66 million people could lose their jobs only in these 32 countries. There is no doubt that digitization is changing the way we live, learn, and work. It will make a lot of things easier, but will also have negative impacts that could cause a lot of people to suffer. We will have changes, we will have tensions, and not to respond to this would be a big mistake. We in Switzerland, we think for quite a lot of years how we can attract talents, how we can also to give access to these new technologies, to these new skills, to already educated people, how we can integrate also people at my age or older, which have perhaps no education in their earlier years. We have seen in the past a lot of critical voices on globalization in general, an increased amount of protectionist, market-distorting national measures. WTO is in general, for the moment, not a very powerful organization. And we all know that multilateral agreed rules would be best to solve all these challenges. When we don't find an adequate response to the anxieties, to the threats of digitization and job loss, we will have the same critical voices we have on globalization. We will have the same critical voices of tech development. We see more protectionist measures, because that's normally the easier way, and that's normally what people and politicians prefer than solve the issues at the racing. So it's important that we care about the fears. It's important that we care about the losers of these developments or those who think they will be losers. As a government, for us, it's very, very important that we work on multilateral level, that we work together on the international level. And I must always also remember that most of the G20 members not even adopted the corner conventions of the ILO, of the International Labor Organization. And actually all these answers to the workplace, to issues or a regulation should be solved there at ILO, and they are far, far, far away from that. So I'm very happy that here in St. Gallen we can discuss this on international level and perhaps give impetus to those who should care about that. Because once again, no answers, we will see more protectionism, more nationalism, and more critical voices to technical development. In Switzerland, we had in April 2016 a digitization strategy which was developed in cooperation with various stakeholders. It was also an element there how we react as policymakers, as business people, as academia on the educational side. In November last year, we concretized what we have installed on the policy level, and as normal, we increased our budget. Because here, when you want to prepare people for having new skills, you have to invest. You have to heavily invest. We did, for the moment, not invest a lot of money because we are still in preparation what is really needed in the structure of education. So we began 10 years ago first to increase skills in the so-called MINT professions, so maths, IT, natural science, engineering, because there be a lack of talents and experts. And now we have to go further because it's important that digitization has an effect, an impact on all employment opportunities and has an impact on children up to the aging society. We have seen in the last 30-20 years, I think, a shift in employment towards technology-oriented and knowledge-intensive sectors requiring a high level of qualification. After all, when everything is interconnected, smartphones with cars, homes, refrigerators, and so, or machine to machine, factory to factory, this new world will require well-qualified people. The vocations that will benefit the most from digitization at the workplace undoubtedly include engineering science, information technology, and all professions involving data analysis. There is already strong demand on the labor market for jobs in mathematics, information technology, sciences, and engineering, but it can often only be met by recruiting personnel from abroad. Here, it will be necessary to foster the necessary skills for using the new technologies from early childhood and to accompany the already gainful employed as well as older citizens on the path to the new world of digitization. We had a study from the Further Education Association who estimates that around 1.5 million people in Switzerland under the age of 65 have difficulty in using a computer or other digital device. In Switzerland. Okay. A lack of qualification in this field is the main reason why companies are only making slow progress with the modernization of work processes. That's why in the government, due also to this analysis, we prepare now together with the cantons a strategy which is then the baseline for the new budget from 2020 to 24. Because we need really from the kindergarten, from the early childhood up to the elderly people, a coherent strategy, a coherent system, that all these new skills are integrated in the learning performance, and that we can also offer to companies, together with companies, lifelong learning programs. There are many activities, but activities and projects are well done, but it needs a coherent system and qualification all over your life. And this will require a lot of new possibilities and a lot of new learning programs. We have in Switzerland, with our vocational education system, a powerful instrument at our disposal, because not only people who will frequent universities must be involved. Most of the people have no qualification at academic level, and these are the workers we need for tomorrow. So progress will be required in this field of digital vocational training and further education. As the first Swiss canton, my canton, Aargau, introduced IT classes in their schools up from 2016. And Fribourg will follow next year as the first canton in Western Switzerland. So together with the cantons, with the basic schools, with vocational training programs, we really administer now the whole career from kindergarten up to master degrees. And I think this will be very, very important in the future and can be a program which could be helpful also for other countries. Because only together with the business associations, with the unions, we can prepare also, especially for workers, the programs which give them the skills and which helps them to see digitization more as an opportunity than as an anxiety. In addition to a more optimistic debate and the investments we need in education, we also need a broader-based one that extends beyond the technological dimension. We have to ask ourselves which activities we want to entrust to robots in the future and which ones we do not. In the midst of a technological transition, people take on a new kind of importance. Artificial intelligence needs a human mind, a distinguished social and ethical context. In the field of law, for example, it would be technically feasible for robots to quickly and efficiently take decisions. But the fact that machines, instead of human beings, would take such significant decisions still strikes us as inconceivable. Furthermore, it is likely to be very difficult for robots to substitute social and creative intelligence. In care and creative professions, people will continue to be decisive. We should all participate in this debate together. Digitization calls for broader-based social discussion. It is particularly important for intellectuals to express their views. During the ongoing transition, we want to hear what artists, writers, professors, lateral thinkers, etc. have to say. And when you hear my colleague from Botswana, you see also for Botswana, the challenge is totally different, other and diverse than for Switzerland or Singapore with other challenges and with another level of education. Here, we need also the aspects of social and ethical elements in the discussion. History has demonstrated that Switzerland, like other industrialized countries, have always succeeded in stimulating innovative strength and enthusiasm of entrepreneurs and researchers when there is a change. Entrepreneurs have repeatedly accepted responsibility for their employees, and they encourage them to be innovative, and they also offer them opportunities for further educational programs. This is why we have always been the beneficiaries of technological progress. This might not count for every country. We will have less conflicts, less difficulties during the transition, and less disparities over the globe when we invest together in education, when the transition is an inclusive process, when use and assessments and cares we have about those who lose their job, who battle and have real big difficulties in adaptation, this is very important. Political and societal acceptance goes hand in hand with supporting them with transparency and proximity to the labor market. We will do this in Switzerland. We should have an engagement all over the planet. Then we will see a lot of enthusiasm, and we will see more people with jobs, with perspectives, and with a better life. This is what I expect also from this St. Gallen Symposium. I firmly believe that we can master the transition to digitization, and I firmly believe that companies who care about their employees will be the winners of tomorrow. I firmly believe that thanks to higher education and early answering responses to the transition will help us to offer a lot of people new jobs, also when they perhaps need to learn more and others. And I would like to thank you when you contribute towards engagement, towards investments in education, towards empowering, and then I'm sure we will see impacts. Inclusiveness will be key. When only those who have already a lot of talents, only those who have already perspectives profit from these technological developments, we will lose. We will have more conflicts, more problems. That's why I thank you for getting engaged, for getting involved, for offering a lot of people new jobs and a positive impact. Thank you so much.